In this chart, we're looking at 30-minute bars of the mini S&P, and each rectangle you see covers the value area during regular trading hours. What I'm shading here, or this box, this rectangle, represents an average day's range, and you can see these first two profiles or days had below average ranges. All that tells me is that the market's getting ripe and ready to move, at least at average day's range. So when I get a good read on momentum, I'll move this box around here to set objectives on where I think a market should go given just an average day. Now, here you can see that in one night, the S&P moved a full week's range. And what that helps me with is say, hey, listen, what are the odds that this market's going to continue to trend? Well, they're very slim after seeing a move of that magnitude. So at that point, I would start thinking about more of a mean reversion or a counter trade strategy. Here we're looking at weekly profiles for the XLE, which is an energy ETF, and this rectangle represents the average length and width of a weekly profile. Those statistics are available under each chart you create on the website. So what you do here is you can take this box and move it around and say, okay, let me measure from the high volume price. And you can see here that it was far below average vertically, but far above average horizontally, which means the odds favor a market moving into a trend. And that trend continued, you see, for a couple of weeks, and then after it got overbought, in other words, the week range was far above average vertically, it went through a coiling phase. And after it goes through a coiling phase, market's ripe to move again. And you can see here we've got a below average or above average horizontal measurement, and it moves into a trend again. So markets move and they coil. It's our job to figure out what the probabilities favor, whether the market's ready to move or ready to sit. Here we're looking at monthly profiles in corn, and if we take our rectangle and let's just look at an average lengthwise profile, and we find here that we've got an average lengthwise, but we see the width or the time at the high volume price was far above normal, which means this market's ready to trend. And if we take a measurement of an average profile from there, or average monthly profile, you can see it fulfilled the objective. And again, in the next month, the measurement from the high volume price worked as well. Here we're looking at beans by week, and I want to show you how to make the rectangles here. We know that on the week of 5/10 we had an average vertical range of 31.8 points, and then on the week of 4/12 we had 40 periods at the high volume price. So we've got our rectangle here, and what I'd like to do is move that around and find profiles that are far below average lengthwise and far above average widthwise. These occur right before markets break into trend. Here we're looking at the technology ETF XLK, and we're looking at it by quarter. I realize the look is different from the website, but that's because there's a lot more data on my home server, so when I want to look at long-term charts, I need to use that version of macrograph. Anyway, the logic's still the same here. We're just looking at quarters now. Down here we have our rectangle that covers an average length and width, and you can see here we've got a far below average lengthwise and above average widthwise profile before a market breaks into a pretty good trend. You can use these to set your objectives each quarter too. In this last chart, it's more of a review. Remember, we want to make these rectangles to set our objectives. You must know the characteristics or the traits of the market you're trading. How much does it move in a given time frame? And know it in a number of time frames. Here we're looking at quarterly profiles here, and if we take our measurements, we can see that the market moved up in a very normal fashion. And then you can see here where we spent a little bit too much time at price, meaning that it's ripe to move again, and then we got double the average range. And then after that, it went through a coiling phase. So markets move and they coil. It's our job to know those characteristics. So be aware of what an average range is, what the amount of time at price is before a market's ready to move. These will be really helpful in setting your objectives.